This is the Hollywood Outsider, a weekly entertainment podcast where this week we are looking at upcoming releases Dread, End of Watch, House at the End of the Street, and Trouble with the Curve. Our From the Outside In topic this week, it's going to be a little extended. We're going to talk about feminism in movies today, which is funny that we're going to talk about it. The latest in movie and TV news, our own trivia and flashback DVD segments, including this week's contest winner. With that, I am Aaron Peterson, your host. With me today are my co-host, Scott Clark.
What's going on, Aaron?
Not much. Justin McCumber.
Man, I heard last week's episode sucked. What happened?
Some doucheberry wasn't
That's
here.
funny because the reports I heard that it was just best one in a year.
Yeah.
So.
Best one in ages?
Went really smooth. Not a lot of edits.
And Brian Williams. Brian, I said hi.
Hi. Well, I couldn't hear you from the laughing, the cackling, the boisterous jiggling over there.
That's
anyway,
true. Justin,
how's it going?
Good. It is true that we had the least amount of edits from any episode the week you weren't here. I'm just saying. I think we know who tries to trip me up the most now.
Usually it's Brian. Maybe Brian was just on his better behavior.
I'm not saying any
he's
names.
He's usually the instigator.
But I'm pointing fingers right now.
I was going to say, I got to agree with, it's usually Brian that's stirring up shit. But
Yeah,
I don't
Brian,
know
I
what
hope
you're
you're looking
talking
at the tip of that finger. It
Whoa.
should be pointed at you.
Whoa. So this is the first time all four of us have been back together for, 3 weeks now?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Justin, you just
Nothing's
moved.
changed for me, though, because I've been here every week.
Since day
Just
one.
saying.
Looking in the classifieds.
How'd the move go? Justin just moved into a Bruce Wayne manor.
Oh, we call it Macumber Manor. Thank you very much. No, it went fine. We moved on Tuesday, and I was really hoping that even though we were moving, I would be able to be on the show Wednesday because I was leaving my computer at the old house with our internet connection still up. But so, I don't know what site I went to, what I did, because I don't go to bad sites. I get my porn in legitimate sites. Somewhere, though, I picked up a virus, and it's Tuesday, and I'm, trying to get something settled, and all of a sudden I'm getting these errors and Windows. Computer got just hosed up. Luckily, my brother, who has become a more IT geek than I am, we're both IT guys, but since I got laid off almost 4 years ago, my brain in that area has atrophied to the point that I can barely turn it on. He has maintained a career in the IT field, so he's constantly working on computers. He got it fixed, so today I am back up and running, just trying to get everything back to the way it was. But I'm here. We're almost done unpacking. It's a beautiful house. I'm happy to be here.
Can you text me the website address for that you're talking about where you get your safe porn?
Your legitimate porn.
You should ask Aaron. I'm texting him stuff every day. He gets little. Shh.
God, man, I guess download means something different to people in Texas.
Usually it means you're gay and hiding it.
Speaking of children's shows, if you have listened to the podcast, there is an interview up with Geek and Sundries written by Kid Creators that was just put up. It's very interesting. They have a pretty interesting concept that they're working with on the web every Wednesday, where they are essentially letting the kids write stories that they are in turn getting directed. So it's an interesting little story. Please check out the interview. It's very good. Let's move on to movie news. Let's just get started. Let's get to cracking. Daniel Craig is officially signed for 2 more James Bond flicks after Skyfall. Is this what everybody wants, or do you guys think it's time to pass the torch?
I kind of want to see Skyfall before I answer that. I mean, I've only seen 2 Bond movies with Daniel Craig, and the second one I didn't like very much. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that Skyfall kind of redeems that. But I like Daniel Craig as Bond. I think it's a slick Bond. So Casino Royale was one of my favorite Bond movies. Mm-hmm. I hope Skyfall does it, but I don't know. I mean, what's the average? I mean, how many did each of the other guys have?
I think Roger Moore has the record. I think he had 7. Connery had 6. Pierce Brosnan got booted, so he got 5.
Right.
And what's his name had 1.
Did he really have 5?
Yeah, Brosnan.
So I know he had GoldenEye, Die Another. No, GoldenEye.
Yeah, I was
The
only
World
thinking.
Is Not
Oh,
Enough.
it's 4. Maybe it's 4.
Yeah, I was only thinking 3 or 4, but
I thought he had like 3 or 4, and you really should though include the Timothy Dalton because he should have been Bond for those 2 films, but you kind of can't.
Wow.
Because Timothy Dalton did take the role.
Somebody's somewhat bitter.
I don't know. I mean, I would love to see Daniel Craig continue. I enjoyed Quantum of Solace more than most people did. I didn't think it was nearly as good as Casino Royale, but I still rather enjoyed it. And I don't think 3 movies is enough for him to really put his stamp on the Bond franchise. Give him 5, and I think that would probably be pretty good, unless those are even better. And then just keep going at it. But we'll see. I think Skyfall will be really good, though.
I think so, too. Sam Mendes directing is good pedigree.
Yeah, I think that last one, though, wasn't so much his fault. I think it was just more whoever wrote it and or directed it. So, yeah, give him a few more, 4 or 5 total. Then we'll kind of see from there. But I like it. He's my second favorite. So,
mine. He's mine too. All right, BBC's Sherlock director Paul McGugan is in final negotiations to helm Frankenstein. It's a new take on the Mary Shelley classic. I know I said his name wrong. Shut up.
How many O's do you see in that name?
McGuigan? I don't know how you say it.
McGuigan?
Thank you. Fine, let's go with
McGuigan?
that. It's written by Chronicle's Max Landis. Fox is making this a priority and wants this film out there before any other Frankenstein picks.
Unfortunately, in the article that posted this information, while it says that they're going to be taking a new take on the Mary Shelley novel, they really don't say what kind of new take they're going to be taking. I mean, it's going to be directed by, they're hoping, Paul McGuigan, and it's apparently the script is being written by the guy who wrote Chronicle, Max Landis. So I like Frankenstein. I always find it funny, though, when people call the monster Frankenstein, and that's my inner, book geek is always like, no, it's Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein was the guy.
Frankenstein.
Monster. Yeah, Frankenstein. So anytime people call the monster Frankenstein, I kind of get my back up. But I wish I knew more about what they're going to be doing with this. And I wonder how influenced it's going to be by the current play that's out there that Benedict Cumberbatch is in of Frankenstein. That's really got this kind of avant-garde take on the Doctor, and Frankenstein is almost where the actors are switching roles during the performance. I don't know if there's going to be taking of any of that vibe. We'll have to see, but Frankenstein is just one of those creatures that's never really been given, I think, the movie it should have been. I mean, God, who played him in that? It wasn't.
It was Robert De Niro?
Robert De Niro.
Kenneth
That
Branagh?
one sucked. Yeah, there's really just, other than the original Universal black and white, which, even looking back, that's really not a great take on it. But I think Young Frankenstein is probably the only Frankenstein movie that I actually enjoyed. The rest of them, I'd like to see a new take, something a little interesting.
Yeah.
I dug a little deeper. It looks like it's supposed to be a sci-fi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A sci-fi version of it, which is, 100 years ago, the book was pretty much sci-fi in a way. But
I suppose if it goes, maybe they'll have spaceships or something.
That's what
I don't know. I mean, but this guy, the guy that's directing is this McGuigan, however you pronounce it.
McGugan. Let's just go with McGugan. Let's try it.
McGugan's fun to say.
I think it's McGuigan.
That's a stupid name.
I mean, he did Push, which was okay. That Lucky Number 11, which I thought was pretty entertaining.
I like that.
Yeah, that was entertaining. Yeah.
So he's got kind of a darker feel in his movies and stuff. So
Yeah, he does.
Should be pretty good.
And just so you guys know how bad I am with names, when I did the interview with the Written by Kid creators, before we started the interview, Josh Flom actually told me exactly how to pronounce his name. When I started, I still got it wrong. There's something wrong with me.
Please tell me that's in the recording.
It's in there.
Awesome.
Yeah. Vin Diesel is in talks for The Last Witch Hunter, where he will play, you guessed it, a dude that's the last of his kind and hunting witches.
All right. For me, the good with this is that it's actually being directed by Michael Eisner?
Breck Eisner.
Breck Eisner. Yeah, he's actually the son of Michael Eisner.
Okay.
And that's why I guess get it confused. But he actually directed Sahara and The Crazies. So he's kind of got that going for him.
The Crazies was good.
Crazies.
Yeah, Crazies I thought was pretty good. The bad news is that Corey Goodman wrote the script, which his credits are Priest and Apollo 18. So,
Uh-oh.
yeah. So maybe they'll balance each other out. But it basically revolves around a group of witches and warlocks that's joining forces to quickly expand their numbers. But Vin Diesel, of course, is the last of a line of witch hunters, and apparently plans to stop them before things get out of hand. I don't know. Maybe this is the next subgenre or whatever that's coming out here, because we've got Hansel and Gretel. Now we've got Vin Diesel as a witch hunter. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there'll be a couple more lower budgeted spinoffs or knockoffs of it. So
I'm just having a hard time picturing him in that role.
If he puts on black sunglasses, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, that's called Riddick, wasn't it?
Riddick Witch Hunter. I would see that. Well, we'll see what happens. That's going to happen sooner or later. Captain America's Chris Evans and Michelle Monaghan are going to star in a many-splintered thing. It's described as an anti-romantic comedy, and Chris Evans is going to play a guy who, while pretending to be a philanthropist, meets a striking dame and then decides to chase her just for the sake of the chase.
Yeah, this is kind of in the vein of Amelie in 500 Days of Summer, in that it tells the story about a young man who's disillusioned by love and meets this breathtaking young woman at a charity dinner and, pursues her. I like Chris Evans quite a bit, and I really enjoyed him more than I thought I would in that What's Your Number romantic comedy that he did with Anna Faris, where he play another kind of romantic lead. And I think the guy's got a lot of chops. And of course, the woman he's going to be playing off of, Michelle Monaghan, she's quite a strikingly good looking woman. But as I get older, these romantic comedies kind of become less appealing to me, because I don't see a lot of development in the genre. It just kind of seems to be the same story rehashed, and because it's such a character driven thing, you can't do a lot of new special effects or new camera angles or camera techniques that a lot of action films and horror movies can utilize to kind of spruce things up. You're just kind of stuck with characters walking around talking. So unless you're going to be doing a lot with the story, there's really not a lot of way to push that kind of movie forward and make it more interesting than the films that came before. With these actors, maybe they can do it. I don't know. But it's just, it's a romantic comedy. It's going to have Captain America in it. I'm sure I'll see it at some point. But that's about the only reason I'm even half interested in what's going on with it.
I'm really interested in it. Anytime you come up with where they're describing it as anti-romantic comedy, I'm interested until it comes out and it becomes exactly what Justin's talking about, which is the same old thing.
Yeah, but that Friends with Kids movie kind of brought me back to romantic comedies.
Yeah, but nobody saw it.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
But there wasn't any big name actors in it. This is going to have Chris Evans in it, so it's going to have more name appeal.
Well, he was in What's Your Number, and that made like $4.
Yeah,
which I actually thought was kind of funny, because it was kind of a little different attempt, because it made the girl today's woman. She's had a lot more than just 5 guys.
So you're calling every woman out there.
That's not what it...
Are you calling them out? I'm just saying.
Hey, we should talk about feminism in movies.
Woman out, the women out there nowadays have had way more than 5.
I'm just saying there's a lot more activity going on than there used to be. Or at least that we used to know about.
Backpedal.
I'm just trying to clear it up for the ladies out there, because I'm sure they've got a lot of questions right now.
We'll
find out more when we talk about feminism a little
and
later.
You can address that to Aaron Peterson.
At feedback.
at feedback at thehollywoodoutsiders.com.
All right, moving on.
We would love to hear your feedback on that.
We really would.
I probably don't. Safe House, the Ryan Reynolds, Denzel Washington thriller, is getting a sequel. David Guggenheim, who wrote the original film, is back to write Safe House 2 with Ryan Reynolds returning. Denzel most likely is out.
Yeah, Aaron, I know you weren't too fond of the first one. I personally thought it was pretty good. It's not, it's not deep. It's just a typical action movie. But I kind of felt that with the source material there, that there really is room for a second one. And maybe with Denzel being out of it, you could kind of just take it in a number of different directions. And I mean, kind of the way I see it is if Taken can get a sequel, then this one should be able to work something out.
Comparing Taken to Safe House?
No, I'm not comparing the two, but when you have
saying it's very specific plot.
Oh, okay.
It's a specific plot, and then if they can squeeze out a sequel in that out of a very small window of opportunity with Taken, then something along the lines of Safe House, where you have a guy that's in charge of a safe house for FBI or whoever it is, there's a lot more room to work with that.
Okay.
I agree. We'll see what they can do. If they focus on Ryan Reynolds' character, I think it could be something different. It's fair enough. Bruce Willis, the Bruce Willis is in talks to star in American Assassin because the guy loves to be around bullets, where he'll play a mentor for a CIA operative whose girlfriend is killed in a terrorist attack.
I was just going to say, we're talking about how can't picture Vin Diesel in a role as a witch hunter, but this is, I mean, this is a role for Bruce Willis. I mean, it's just...
It's all he's done for the last decade.
That's what I mean. And that said, I have a hard time getting excited about another movie like this. I mean, I have to see more, obviously, but it just seems like another action flick. Where
I think McCumber, it was McCumber or Brian, I don't remember, one of you two said it a few months ago, where he said Bruce Willis has just become Bruce Willis, where he used to be one of my favorite actors, my top three, and he's just become the guy who plays the same character in every single movie now, the same squints, the same grimaces, and I don't quite understand when that happened because he had so many good opportunities to showcase. 12 Monkeys, Pulp Fiction, Sixth Sense. He was really expanding, and then now he's back just doing action flicks. That's it. Okay, it is official. Star Trek II will be known as Star Trek Into Darkness, no colon. And also the series just celebrated its 46th anniversary, September 8th. Wow. Why are you laughing at me?
Just the addition of the no colon at the end. It's like, is that a part of the title? Star Trek Into Darkness, no colon? Because, they are getting some freaky titles out there these days. Yeah, I could definitely see a lot of people with especially tight asses being all aggro over the lack of, a colon separation of the title. Because, in Star Trek movies past, they've always been Star Trek, the Star Trek 2, colon whatever, 3 whatever. And then with the Next Generation movies, it was always colon First Contact, colon Insurrection. But this time, they were going without that, and they're going for something different. And they said that they were inspired quite a bit by Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. There wasn't Batman 1, 2, and 3. Of course, then again, the Tim Burton ones kind of started that too. But it was Batman, then Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and then The Dark Knight Rises. Well, why not carry that forward? And I personally like those sorts of titles that have a little more of a flavor to them, other than just bam, colon, bam. Give it a different vibe. And so Star Trek Into Darkness, I think it's kind of cool. Now, what that darkness is, we don't know. Is it going to be the bad guy played by, let's go ahead and mention his name in this podcast once again, Benedict Cumberbatch? Or is it the darkness of space? We don't know. But Star Trek Into Darkness, that's the official title. It's been confirmed. I think it's a pretty cool title. And long live Star Trek. I was born and bred a Star Wars guy, but I do like Star Trek. I've been a fan since The Next Generation really kind of ushered me into it. And, I'm not one of those guys that says you have to be one or the other, damn it. I like both.
And I want to tell you that the wordplay with tight asses and no colon was the best word association I've heard in a long time. So kudos, McCumber. Kudos.
I don't know, was that on purpose or not?
I don't know. It's genius.
I'll let you figure that out.
Let's go to the whole mill, Scott.
Okay, we all like movie news, and but every once in a while something's worth mentioning, even if it isn't completely confirmed or just might be an informed rumor. So remember, what we talk about here is not done deals, just speculation. So we've got one this week. A project is being shopped around and will most likely land somewhere. But Al Pacino has agreed to star as Penn State's Joe Paterno in a film based on Joe Pasnaski's biography, Paterno. What do you guys think? Is this too soon?
Yes.
Yes.
It's very much too soon. And
I agree.
Because you don't really know what direction to go with. I mean, you've got half the country that says he's still a legend, and you got half that says, well, he covered up whatever he covered up, allegedly covered up.
Well, he is still a legend, but he did allegedly cover some stuff up too. I mean, he can be, but he can be both. I mean, you can't ignore either side of it. You can't ignore 50, 60 years of what he's accomplished at Penn State, and you can't obviously ignore the last, 10, 15 years or so that this scandal has been hidden. So you can't ignore either one of them. He's not one, he's not the other. But it's from what these reports and these investigations have produced. A lot of this information is found out and known at this point. So there's, from what I've understood of the news reports that I've seen, there's enough information to make a movie on it. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to do it, it doesn't make sense to do it 15 years down the road. It makes sense to do it within the next few years.
Yeah, because sadly, everybody will watch it. I mean, it's one of those people just want to read about that story for some reason or
Yeah, I guess that's true. It sounds the end of it's going to seem like Law and Order SVU though. So
I don't know if I would go to the big screen to watch it, but to me it sounds like it will be a good HBO movie.
yeah, it sounds like an HBO movie. Absolutely.
I mean, you have to admit it's almost a Greek tragedy in that you
Really?
do have this person who accomplished amazing feats within his field, yet who also, and from what I understood, I thought he admitted as such that he did not act on information he had about a person under him who was molesting children. And so you have this huge accomplishment, terrible thing he did. How do you not see that as a compelling story? I just feel like today we are much too quick to rush into, let's make a film, let's make something, that's going to draw a lot of viewers and a lot of money. And we don't contemplate things anymore. We don't sit back and digest and kind of let a little time pass so we can really understand something. We just want to jump on sensationalism. And for me, this movie kind of goes to that sensationalism. I would prefer it if maybe the trials could come out and finish and information develop, but that's just not the world we live in. It's a 24-hour news cycle. Go, 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 go. So we're going to get the movie. But I do think the man's story is an interesting one to hear.
Let's move on to happier news because, man, we're all sad now.
Welcome to Brian's Trailer Park. All right, first up is yet another found footage, shaky cam, home movie horror film called The Bay. It's about these little leech-looking isopods that infestate the eastern seaboard and basically eat people from the inside out. It's brought to you from Barry Levinson, who's the guy who made movies like Wag the Dog, Sphere, Sleepers, and Bandits.
You don't mention Rain Man? He made
I
Rain Man.
didn't go down his whole filmography. I'm sorry. So apparently he did Rain Man too.
Definitely Rain Man.
There's a Rain Man 2?
Yeah, it went straight to DVD or VHS at the time, actually.
Oh, it's a Scientology training video.
I don't know. I'm going to toss this one up to whoever, just kind of a jump ball here on whoever wants to take it first. I'm kind of curious about y'all's perceptions of this movie because mine's not very good.
I'm just the opposite. I'm not getting tired of this found footage formula. I thought it looked like a lot of fun. It looked genuinely creepy to me, but I'm probably alone in that.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I like the found footage thing, and I like all the different takes people want to bring to it, whether it's a small, intimate story or the big ones like Cloverfield. And it's an interesting format to take in a variety of ways. And I'm a pretty easy mark though. So
I'm much more interested in the fact that a very well-respected filmmaker, I almost called him large, chubby guy, I don't know, well-respected filmmaker like Barry Levinson is accomplishing a found footage project. It seems like, it's never been a well-respected and established director that's done this before. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's impressive. But I saw the trailer, not so impressive. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of on Brian's side where it's just like, it doesn't look anything different. It doesn't look anything special to me. It looks like the same stuff we've seen in previous movies. Exactly.
I was going to say the same thing. We've seen this, subject matter is creepy. And there are a couple of scenes that they're creepy too, but we've seen them done 100 times before. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't like the camera work. I don't like the acting looks horrible already. There's not anybody that's any established actor by any large measure anyway. Honestly, just off of this trailer, there's no way I'm going to pay money to see this, but I am intrigued by it, and I'll probably check it out when it comes out on Blu-ray or something, or maybe cable. But
yeah, I'll wait for Paranormal Activity 8. So
yeah,
is that one set in space?
Oh, I hope so. That would be fantastic.
It's actually set like in the center of the earth. They all go down to some weird witch coven that's.
Because that's where the devil is.
He's in the middle of the earth.
Yeah,
Earth?
Yep. The molten core. That's where the devil
is. Vin Diesel's leading the charge.
Great.
So.
Welcome to Center of the Earth.
Earth. Damn right.
Will Smith as the devil. Hey, there we go.
How about Jaden Smith? That seems more fitting.
No, Will Smith as the devil, that'd actually be kind of awesome.
It would. Oh, well, before we get sidetracked too much here, the new trailer for Twilight with Colon, Breaking Dawn Part 2, debuted on the MTV Video Music Awards a few days ago to a bunch of screaming tweens. Bella is now a vampire, and their daughter appears to be a few years older or so now.
She's a daywalker.
Looks like there's going to be a final showdown between the Volturi and the assembled masses of the Cullens with some vampy friends and their uneasy allies, the werewolves. So I know Scott will be at the midnight show with his cut-off Team Jacob shirt, sporting his love handles draping over his low-riding jeans.
Ow.
So you excited? So you excited about this one there, Scotty?
Not too much. I've only seen the first Twilight movie, and that was so bad I haven't gotten to see the other ones. But on your recommendation, I may have to go through and watch them because you said they're actually kind of interesting. So
they are interesting. That the thing to me though, and I guess this one just kind of follows suit with it. Also, that some of the special effects are pretty weak considering how much money this franchise is bringing in.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that. 'Cause every time I see a trailer or anything else, I'm like, really? How much money have you made and you can't up the special effects to Michael Bay
The
level?
wolves actually look great.
But anytime she jumps or anything,
To me, it's more of the scenery, the background. You can tell that there's like 5 people standing around a small green screen, but yet they're supposedly looking like it's some snowy mountaintop, and it just looks like, I don't know, something that was you could have done about 30 years ago and probably made it better. But
I don't think they put as much money into these movies as you guys think they do.
No, I'm saying it makes so much.
No,
It makes a lot of money,
makes-
but that don't mean they're going to
makes-
put a lot of money into it.
work out the extra $15 and buy a painted screen or something in the back. I don't know. Make
Upgrade
it
your Photoshop or something.
right. Go to Hobby Lobby and buy some crafty stuff and make a little bit better environment. So,
I think the point is they don't have to though, because it's going to make a shit ton of money anyway.
But what I'm saying, it's made enough to where they could enlarge the budget to cover better special effects, and they continue not to. That's what I don't get. But
yeah.
Whatever. It's people are going crazy for it. The ladies love it. It seems to be the story that they want to see. This one seems a lot more action oriented. I don't know if that's the case because of how the story ends up being a huge battle or whatever, but it looked more interesting than the last couple have to me.
Kristen Stewart looks fantastic as a vampire, though.
She looked great at the MTV Movie Awards because she wasn't there.
Well, in the first part 1, she spent the whole thing really, well, not the whole thing, but it felt like it just looking beat to hell because of the pregnancy and what it was doing to her. So in this one, she's all flush faced and she looks much better in those contacts. The red contacts work.
Yeah, she looks better as a vicious woman than she does as a morose. Oh, woe's me. Oh, bother. When's this come out, B?
That's a good question. Sometime October, I guess. Just kind of wrap things up here. The Bay actually opens up on November 2nd, later on this year. And Twilight Saga: Breaking Dawn Part 2. It actually opens up November 16th, a couple weeks after that. So, I know, Justin, you weren't here the other day, but real quick, did you happen to see the Hansel and Gretel trailer?
You mean Van Helsing 2?
Yes.
I was thinking Brothers Grimm Part 2, personally.
Well, it has the vibe of Grimm meets Van Helsing. And I love Van Helsing. I know I'm one of the few people in the world who does. It's old school, kind of cheesy action adventure. I'm not quite settled in with the Hansel and Gretel yet because I really wasn't expecting such an American accented and strange music trailer. But it looks like it's got a little bit of a steampunk thing going. It looks like it's got a huge Van Helsing vibe.
It didn't bother you. It didn't bother you that the brother and sister have completely different foreign accents.
Actually, she sounded fairly American enough to him that no, I didn't. No, of course I liked it, and seeing Femke Jensen play this, I guess she's going to be the big bad of the movie. She looked fantastic. It looks fun. And for me, this kind of movie is so far in my wheelhouse. It's redonkulous. So I want to see it. I'm really curious to see more trailers.
Well, alrighty.
You sure you don't want to hate on me some?
No, I'm done. I'm done.
All right.
I appreciate it, though. I'm sure there'd be something else I can hate on you about.
Yeah.
I was with you, Justin. I thought it looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, but you're Scott.
Yeah, that's true. You've seen 4 movies this, the decade. So,
All right. Well, if there's anything you want us to weigh in on, send an email at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. You can reach us a few other ways also. Our Twitter handle is at @H_outsider. And like us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider, where you can post comments, questions, and catch some interesting news stuff that we post occasionally. So also don't forget that you can get your official I'm a Ho t-shirts at thehollywoodoutsiders.com.
Stump the Hoe.
Stump the Hoe. Each week, one of our hosts poses a trivia question to the remaining hosts in an attempt to stump their fellow hoes. Ho meaning Hollywood Outsider. This week, it is Brian's turn. What's your question, B?
All right. One quick rule, Aaron, you got to answer last.
Okay.
So,
I guess we know
right.
who's the best hoe. What?
no, it's got nothing to do with that.
Damn it.
Just something that you'll be talking about later. Upon coming back from the First World War, Indiana Jones was an understudy of Abner Ravenwood. Which university was he studying in? Harvard University, University of Chicago, Princeton University, or University of Cairo?
I'm going to say Princeton.
Okay, Scotty's going with Princeton.
Justin?
Justin?
What was the first one?
Harvard.
Harvard University, University of Chicago, Princeton University, or University of Cairo?
I'm going to go with Harvard.
I will say the University of Chicago.
Oh, man.
That doesn't mean I'm right. We'll find out what the answer is
We'll find out later.
a little later in the show, so stick around. Let's go to the big screen. This week we don't have any new, big new releases to review. We're saving a lot of our time for our topic a little later on. But I did see Raiders of the Lost Ark in IMAX. It's only there for a week.
How awesome was it?
It was fantastic. Just seeing it in the big screen again, it does not look like a 30-year-old movie. I'm not going to go over the plot because if you haven't seen it, shame on you. Shame on you. There's a lot of people there. I think it made about a little over $1 million for the weekend. That's not bad. They're really just doing it as a publicity stunt to sell the new Blu-ray package that they've got. But the print looks pristine. My wife and I were watching it, and we both decided this does not look 30 years old. I mean, they've cleaned it up enough, and thankfully it takes place in the past already. So you watch it, and the special effects still work. The extremely loud gunshots still work. The ridiculously loud punches still work.
Yeah.
Everything still works. It looks fantastic. And granted, I am so biased, it's not even funny. The screen could have shut off halfway through, and I would have said, it's the best thing I've seen all year. It's kind of like how Justin is with Star Wars. There's really not much you could do that make me say anything hateful on it. It's just, it's my baby. The only thing I wish could have happened was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was playing the same day. If you're hearing this and it's still playing at an AMC near you and you're a fan, I recommend seeing it. It was like reliving my childhood, seeing it on the big screen again. Harrison Ford completely nails Indiana Jones. It's the one thing that I don't think should ever be remade because you're never going to get that close again. So I
think Taylor Lautner would play pretty good. And you give him a few more years, gristle up a little bit.
Well, you should go out to your pool and just stay under the water.
Maybe
Breathe
Jeremy
real
Renner.
deep.
Breathe real deep. No, if Taylor Lautner ever comes near Indiana Jones, I'll pick it. Not that that'll matter, but
I will
I'll
You'll
hire
pick it.
Hitman
You'll pick
and
it as your hit of the week.
yeah, it's my pick of the week. Yeah. So Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, it probably won't be playing by the time you listen to this anymore, but man, was it fantastic! And actually, AMC is doing a September 15th, which you'll probably have already listened to this by the time that happens. But they're going to have all 4 movies playing back to back in IMAX, and the first 3 are well worth seeing in IMAX. So, not the last one because Shia LaBeouf's in it, and there's monkeys. Okay, let's. You can always subscribe to our podcast on our site, thehollywoodoutsiders.com, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or anywhere else you can find an RSS feed. We're also on RockfordCollegeRadio.com every Thursday from 4 to 6. Let's go on to box office. We're going to have to go off estimates because we are doing this show a little early for once. The Possession came out with about $9.5 million, which brings it to about $33 million. This is one of the worst box office weekends in a long time. Lawless dropped down to $6 million. It's made about $23 million. It's a flop. There won't be a Lawless 2. The Words, the brand new Bradley Cooper movie, and also had Dennis fucking Quaid in it, made $5 million.
Got terrible reviews.
And that's estimates, so it'll probably come in a little under 5. Thank God he's got Vegas coming out on CBS. The Expendables 2 dropped down to $4.7 million. It's made about $75 million. It's going to come in a lot shy of the last movie, but it'll make about $85-90 million when it's all said and done. So that's the weekend box office. Now it's time for
We have got 4 movies that we're going to be talking about this week, all of them coming out on September 21st. The first one, Dread. Dread's a science fiction action film directed by Pete Travis and written by Alex Garland. It's based on the 2000 AD comic strip Judge Dredd and its eponymous character, who was created by John Wagner and Carlos Ezvera. Garland began writing the script as early as 2006, though development of the new Dredd movie didn't begin until, or wasn't even announced until 2008. And this is completely unrelated to the 1995 Judge Dredd movie starring Sylvester Stallone. In fact, maybe he should have read this a little bit. Does anybody know Sly? Didn't we have him on before? Yeah, maybe I could have called him up.
Yeah, we did. We did have him on for a little bit, yeah. I took my helmet off.
He was quite the hit.
I took my helmet off.
I am the law.
I am the law.
Well, principal photography for this began on November of 2010 and had an estimated $45 million budget. The project was shot using 3D cameras throughout practical sets, so there's not a lot of CG there, and on location in South African cities of Cape Town and Johannesburg. In this, the future world is an irradiated wasteland. Carl Urban stars as Judge Dredd, a law enforcement officer given the power of judge, jury, and executioner in the vast dystopian metropolis of Mega City 1 that lies within a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Alongside rookie Judge Anderson, Dredd is forced to bring order to a feared 200-story slum and its resident drug lord, Mama, played by Lena Headey of
Game of Thrones.
Well, Game of Thrones, 300, and she was also Mama Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, Brian, were you the one who was quite high on the trailer when we originally saw it? I know I wasn't, but I know one of us was, and I thought it was you. Are you anticipating this film at all?
Yeah, I was the one that was higher than the rest of you guys on it. I'm kind of anticipating this one. I know Aaron compares it to Zack Snyder's slow motion stuff. There's too much of that, but part of that is the drug that she is I guess the main kingpin for in that area is a drug that slows down time. So
called appropriately slow-mo.
Right. And granted, her character's name is pretty bad, Mama. I'm not expecting Oscar cinema quality here, but I think there is a certain amount of fun that is kind of ingrained with this movie that I kind of want to check out. So.
I'll be honest, I'm one of the ones. I was with Justin. I hated the trailer. I thought the trailer was just awful. But a lot of the early reviews coming out of this thing say that it's fun as hell. It played at Comic-Con and they loved it. So I'm curious now. I was not curious. I had no desire whatsoever because I think Stallone nailed Judge Dredd. I'm kidding. He did.
Let's say, really?
Yeah. Him and Rob Schneider really brought Judge Dredd to the action forefront. Yeah, he's in that one. But Carl Urban, I'll give it a shot. Now that I've seen some reviews and people are speaking pretty positive of it, I'll give it a shot.
I'm actually quite curious about it. I have heard enough positive buzz on this film that my complete lack of regard for it has changed a bit. Instead of just ignoring it altogether, I actually do want to see it. I'm just not sure how quickly, but I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot now.
Okay.
Second film we're going to talk about is Trouble with the Curve. Now, this one's a sports drama starring Clint Eastwood, Amy Adams, Justin Timberlake, the highly acclaimed Matthew Lillard, and John Goodman. Now, this is Eastman's first acting project since 2008 when he did Gran Torino, and the first film he'll star in since In the Line of Fire that he's actually not directing. This one's about an aging Atlanta Braves baseball scout named Gus Lobel, who's given one last assignment to prove his worth to the organization. Who sees him as unable to adapt to changes in the business. His boss and friend Pete, played by Goodman, who does not want to see him let go, asks his daughter, Mickey, to join him on the trip to make sure he's okay, against Gus's wishes. Together they scout a top new prospect in North Carolina, where Mickey begins to take an active role in her father's work to make up for his failing vision, which he's hidden from his bosses. Along the way, Gus reconnects with Johnny, played by Timberlake, a rival team scout who has a friendly history with Gus, as Gus was the man who scouted him when he was a baseball player and who also takes an interest in his daughter. I'm not a big baseball fan. I could care less about the sport. Aaron, are you a baseball fan at all? You curious about this one?
No, but I want to see Clint Eastwood talking to a chair for like 2 hours. I think that'd be
God.
fantastic.
That's just, let's ignore that one.
I love Clint Eastwood. Granted, he's getting a lot of bad press last week because of his Republican National thing, but the guy has been one of my acting idols for years. I admire everything he does. He's an extremely talented director. He's an okay actor. I mean, he's kind of the same guy in every movie, but he's just got more presence than 90% of the actors working today. Still, at 80 frickin' years old, it's ridiculous. So I will be there with bells on. Even though I don't like baseball, I don't care. I still haven't seen Moneyball because I didn't care.
Oh, you really should check out Moneyball.
I just don't like baseball. I really don't. But I will see this because I love Clint Eastwood.
Mm-hmm. I like baseball a little bit more than you guys, but it's not my favorite sport by any stretch of the imagination. I'm actually surprised how much I want to see this movie. It just looks really interesting. Like you said, Clint Eastwood's entertaining. I like Timberlake. I think Amy Adams is cute. I really want to see this one.
Brian, you love baseball. Do you want to see this?
You're not going to the movies to watch a baseball game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you kind of got to realize there. It's not a baseball game. It revolves around the world of scouts and baseball and stuff. But it's not. You're not sitting there watching a full baseball game.
You do understand that if I don't care about the sport, I really don't care about the plot, right? Like Moneyball is basically about baseball.
I mean, if you want to be that close-minded about it, absolutely, that's fine.
Kiss my ass.
Everybody can't be as open-minded as some of the rest of us here. So
that's true. I guess you'll have to let me know how it is, how Moneyball was. I'll see this one because it looks more of a father-daughter kind of drama, and that's more what have interest in.
I wasn't talking about Moneyball. I was talking about this one, but
I do want to see this one. I said I wanted. Man, I will knock you to.
Hey, it's not my. See, exactly. You're just that close-minded. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Now, Aaron, who do you love more, Clint Eastwood or Dennis Quaid?
Oh,
if they were to shoot at each other, who would you take a bullet for?
Probably at this point, Clint Eastwood. No, Dennis Quaid.
Somewhere
Quaid.
Dennis just grabbed his chest. Was like, oh.
I don't know.
Dennis Quaid just took a knee.
I don't know. Clint Eastwood obviously has a lot more talent than Dennis Quaid, but Dennis Quaid has a special place in my heart. He was in when I was younger. He was in a lot of roles that I was really impressed by.
Because Inner Space really kicked ass,
Shut
and
up,
it really
dude.
touched us all.
The Big Easy is one of my favorite roles of any actor. So,
I liked Inner Space.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. Third film, End of Watch. This is an action film written and directed by David Ayer, who wrote Training Day and actually directed Street Kings and Harsh Times. This one's about two police officers played by Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena, who are in Los Angeles Police Department, and they come upon a startling discovery which makes them the targets of a drug cartel. Every trailer I've seen for this has just really looked brutal, very gritty, almost found footagey in some of the camera techniques. So it's an interesting film and one that I didn't anticipate liking before I saw the trailer. And I'd heard Jake Gyllenhaal be interviewed about it, and apparently he and Michael Pena went on ride-alongs with the police, not just for days or weeks, but for months and months to really get a good bond together and see what these guys do, and got quite involved with it. So I'm more curious than I thought I would have been. Scotty, how do you feel about this? Is End of Watch something you think you're going to be interested in?
Not too interested. I actually, after watching the trailer, it reminded me more of a more serious Bad Boys than Training Day, and I don't know. I'm not a big cop action movie guy. I mean, I might check it out, but I'm not going to run to the theater.
I want to see it. It looks pretty brutal. It's not something I pay $10 for, but I'll go to an early matinee. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love intense cop dramas, and they never make money. Not very often. Training Day is an exception, but they're always fun to watch. Dark Blue with Kurt Russell is a great movie. Training Day is great. This guy, David Ayer, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Mm-hmm. He's very talented, and he has a knack for gritty cop flicks, so I'll check it out.
Yeah, me too. It looks real edgy. So I like Gyllenhaal, and I like the that what was it, Michael Pena?
Michael Pena.
So, yeah, I like him too. He's always that kind of background guy, but he always seems to play a pretty decent role. Mm-hmm. So, looks good.
All right, well, the last one we're going to be discussing is House at the End of the Street. Now, this is a horror thriller directed by Mike Tandari and starring Jennifer Lawrence, Elizabeth Shue, and Max Thurrott. It was mainly filmed in Ontario, Canada. The story is about seeking a fresh start. Newly divorced Sarah, played by Elizabeth Shue, and her daughter, Elisa, Jennifer Lawrence, find the house of their dreams in a small, upscale rural town. But when startling and unexplainable events begin to happen, Sarah and Elisa learn that the town is in the shadows of a chilling secret. Years earlier, in the house next door, a daughter killed her parents in their beds and disappeared, leaving only a brother, Ryan, played by Max Thurrott, as the sole survivor. Against Sarah's wishes, Alyssa begins a relationship with the reclusive Ryan, and the closer they get, the deeper they're all pulled into a mystery more dangerous than they ever imagined. Now, I know we're all quite big fans of Jennifer Lawrence, so I assume that this is a movie that we're all having at least a little bit of interest in. But Aaron, you seem to have been the most vocal in your admiration of Jennifer Lawrence's attributes. Is this one you're going to be seeing in theaters?
She is a twofold winner for me. I think, obviously, she's gorgeous, but I think she's the most charismatic actress to come out of Hollywood in probably 10 years. Personal opinion. Winter's Bone, Hunger Games, everything I've seen her in, she steals every scene she's in. She is just talented. The concept of the movie is something that I would probably normally wait for DVD, but just seeing her in this role, I think she can elevate pretty much anything she's in. So I'm there. I'm very much sold on the movie. It looks good, but it doesn't look like anything really truly original. But I think she can make it a different kind of movie.
Looks like Disturbia, but with a horror twist.
Yeah.
Where's Elizabeth Shue been?
Elizabeth Shue?
Yeah,
she was in Piranha.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. She was in that. Yeah. I don't know. For me, she kind of stopped around the Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh, Thor.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. We got these 4 films. Once again, they are Dread, Trouble with the Curve, End of Watch, House at the End of the Street, all 4 opening September 21st. Guys, of these 4 films, which one are you most likely to go see in the theater? Aaron?
House at the End of the Street.
Scotty?
Trouble with the Curve.
Brian?
End of Watch.
Wow, we're getting changing it up. You know, I would have to say of these 3, I would probably go see House at the End of the Street.
Excellent.
So
there was 4,
2
though.
beats y'all.
There was 4 movies. You said of these 3. You don't even count.
Did I? Yeah. Hopefully our listeners are smart enough to catch my error. But you went ahead and pointed it out, so now they'll surely catch it. Thank you, Scotty. Aaron.
Whoever I am. You could tell Justin's still tired.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm very tired.
What's this movie?
What's this movie? Each week we play ours or a listener-suggested clip from a movie. If you think you know what the clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com or send us a direct message on Twitter at @H_outsider, and we will announce those that got it correct on the air. As well, we will draw a name from those that guessed correctly and send them an I'm a Ho official Hollywood Outsider t-shirt. Last week's answer was Brian's choice, and it was Baby Mama, which is a great choice. The people that got it correct were Michael H., Barrel House Red, Sean M., Susan S., and Ashley S. And the winner this week is Barrel House Red. Congratulations, Barrel House. We'll get in touch with you and find out your size and where you live. And since
it never stops being creepy.
Since we recorded this episode a little earlier, we're not recording on our normal day. If you submit the correct entry after this taping, you will still be entered into next week's drawing. So no hoes are getting screwed here, okay?
I see what you did there.
Yeah, did you? This week it's Scott's choice. So if you think you know what this is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com or let us know on Twitter. Of those that guess correctly, we'll draw from the winners next week for a free Ho shirt. Here's your clip.
Now listen to me. If that girl is still alive, she's the only chance you've got.
I think she's alive.
You think?
Then where is she now?
Did you leave her someplace? Just sell her out?
Tell me where she is. Move! White! 1 and 6! Where's the girl? White, I have this under control. Put the weapon down! Here's the girl!
Okay, if you think you know what the clip is, then email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Let's go to TV home video news. First things first, the CW is going forward with developing a Wonder Woman series. It's supposedly in the vein of Smallville and under the working title Amazon, and the series would see the Double W as she becomes the woman she is meant to be.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting take, and I'm kind of glad that they're going to go this route, because Wonder Woman is a character that I think everybody visually recognizes, but I don't think a lot of people really know her her origin story. Now, I don't know, they talk about that it's going to be her origin and the creation of who she's going to become, but I don't know how far back are they going to take it. I mean, are they going to take her back to the the mythological origins of who she was and being raised amongst the other Amazons, or are they going to more introduce it as her in our modern world? I don't know yet, but it looks like a really cool take on it. I'm glad that they're not going to just boom, there's Wonder Woman, everybody knows her, and we're just going to take off with it, but do more of a Smallville thing. So I'm glad to hear this, and knowing that the people who are behind it have got a bit of a comic book background to them, I think it's pretty cool, because the guy who's in charge of it, he did write the Young Avengers for a little bit, and the CW, I think, knows how to handle this kind of property. I'm psyched.
I love the title.
Amazon?
Amazon.
She's from the Amazon. She's Amazonian.
No, I know. I'm saying I like it.
Okay.
I think Amazon, big, tall Amazonian woman, and that's what she is.
I think shopping.
You think shop?
Yeah, that too.
I think fast shipping. That's what I think. Saturday Night Live is adding 2 new Chicago comics after the recent departures of Andy Samberg, Kristen Wiig, and Abby Elliott. Is this show ready to retire yet? Seriously?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a working formula. I mean, just because they're losing some of these comedians, they're going to get more. They've been doing it for 30, 40 years now?
Almost 30, yeah.
And granted,
Since
I don't
mid-70s.
I don't watch
almost
it
40.
regularly, but Brian said that there's genuinely funny stuff still going on there, like really, really funny. I just don't watch TV on Saturday nights.
Yeah, the thing with Saturday Night Live is it's constantly evolving. Their rosters change every year. They drop somebody, whether they're for one reason or another. Either they kind of get promoted to the big screen or their own TV shows, or either they just don't carry the weight that that Lorne Michaels thinks they should, and then they cut them loose. So I don't know. To me, this is just another evolution in the cast. Sooner, these people that you like, that you want to see in every skit, they're not going to be around much longer.
Right.
So they're constant. Like I said, these shows are constantly evolving, and the material that they take from mostly are current events. So the subject matter is always there. Mm-hmm. It's really the perfect show to run for another 20 years. It's just so no. To answer your question, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it is done.
Plus, it's fun seeing celebrities in skits.
Yeah, like the Brian Williams from NBC News is hilarious.
He is so funny.
Let's take a poll. When was the last time you watched a Saturday Night Live episode? Brian, go first.
I watch every season.
Okay, Scott.
I'm a few months, maybe. A few months ago.
Justin?
I mean, it's been in fairness, it has been in reruns. The season kicks off here in a few weeks, but as far as new episodes and stuff,
I haven't watched a full new episode in a long time. I just usually see individual skits that people link to or mention.
Exactly what Justin says. I haven't watched an episode probably 5 years minimum, like a full episode.
I agree though with Brian. It's the show's almost like a football franchise. Some years you're going to have a great roster, and then some years you're kind of rebuilding. And these things are going to kind of come and go. It's an ebb and flow to it. I'm just glad they stopped doing the fucking movies.
Oh.
I mean, if they'd have done a Mango movie, I think I would have shot somebody.
Oh, God, that was horrible.
All right, J.J. Abrams sold a pilot to Fox about an L.A. police department in the near future that fights alongside human-like androids, Cylon Robocops, if you will.
I'm probably going to be the only one here, but this does absolutely nothing for me. I don't care that J.J. Abrams, I respect everything he's done. I like most of the stuff that he's done. I don't want to sit there. All I'm envisioning is you've got an American actor or a human actor next to a guy with another who's a human who's acting like he's a robot who's supposed to be part human or something. And all I can envision is some stiff guy sitting there. What do you mean by bust a cap in his ass? I've got to see previews or read more about this before I get excited about it, because this sounds to me just sounds hokey.
I agree. I had no desire. I wasn't sold on it at all. I mean, granted, J.J. Abrams he's got some bad shows too. You know, he doesn't have all hits, and it's nothing that interests me at all. Good for him that he keeps making millions, but
What bad show has he done?
well, off the top of my head,
Come on, say it.
Fringe.
Oh.
I don't like Fringe.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Justin. Did you quit? You might have just quit.
I think he just logged off.
But I'm not gonna bash it because I don't think it's bad. It's just not my cup of tea.
I think it sounds interesting, but I think I'd rather see it in a movie than a series.
Yeah, that was called iRobot. It had Will Smith in it.
Wow.
You're fucking dead to me.
I was waiting for it.
I'm dead. Why am I dead?
Fucking Fringe is awesome.
Undercovers. That was the name of it. It was a horrible series. Undercovers. It was about a African American couple that are basically spies and
Yeah, but
American.
you're racist, so we knew you weren't gonna like
Jesus.
that.
And
I think this new show sounds interesting. I like they've done it many times before, obviously, of pairing up a human with a machine. What does the machine, think of our world? And it could be really hokey, but I'm going to hope for the best. And it's an intriguing premise. I'll check it out.
My mom loves Fringe. Does that help?
Fuck you.
He's going to be
You're dead to
salty
me.
the
I already
rest of
said that. Goodbye.
All right. Well, I guess somebody's not coming to my party.
You're at a party?
Oh, shit. I
was
forgot you were
invited.
here. Let's go on to DVD and Blu-ray, Scotty.
All right, we're looking at the releases for September 18th. First off, the awesome Cabin in the Woods. This is about 5 friends who go for a break at a remote cabin in the woods where they get more than they bargained for. Definitely check that movie out. I think we all rated that one pretty highly. The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. British retirees travel to India to take up residence in what they believe is a newly restored hotel. Less luxurious than its advertisements, the Marigold Hotel nevertheless slowly begins to charm in unexpected ways. That sounds boring as hell to me. I don't know. Katy Perry, Part of Me. It's a documentary that chronicles Katy Perry's life on and off stage. The Baby Makers. After failing to get his wife pregnant, a guy recruits his pal to steal the deposit he left at a sperm bank years ago. Sounds like a really...
I thought it was my life story for a second.
I'll probably see it just because Olivia Munn's in it, because she's a great actor.
Who?
Olivia Munn.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's why you think she's a great actress.
She actually is. She's great on Newsroom.
Keep trying to sell it.
Detachment, a substitute teacher who drifts from classroom to classroom, finds a connection to the students and teachers during his latest assignment. I will definitely be checking that one out. Also for TV, Supernatural Season 7, Hawaii Five-0 Season 2, Modern Family Season 3, and Aaron's personal favorite, the movie Bait.
In 3D.
In 3D. That looks really, really bad.
It looks so awful. I want to
But it's
see
in
it.
3D.
And also of note, Avengers Phase 1, which is that huge Blu-ray multi-pack that was like $9,000, whatever it was, is being delayed until 2013 due to a lawsuit on the packaging.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently what happened is that when Disney licensed this particular briefcase in which the Tesseract sits in, it's a metal briefcase, it's got the ridging, looks really cool on the screen. Apparently when they bought the rights to that particular briefcase, which is manufactured by a real company, they bought it for the movie. Well, some dipshit in their home video department didn't check to see what all licensing agreements were made. They just probably thought, well, we either made it or we own it. And so they manufactured smaller versions of it to put the DVDs and whatever else in the special Phase 1 limited edition packaging in a replica of that briefcase. But Disney didn't buy the home video replica rights to that briefcase. They only bought the film displaying rights. So, ergo, i.e., this company decided, you know what, Disney's got a lot of money. They're trying to use our stuff they didn't pay for. Now we're going to sue them. And so because some dumbass in the home video department didn't look up what they should have, we're all getting screwed.
That's how angry Justin is. He's already written a legal brief on it.
It's just so dumb. How do people not do their jobs? This is a major release. How do you not make sure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted before you start putting out pictures and promotions?
You're really angry, aren't you?
Well, I'm angry because someone didn't do their job, and now this thing that I'm a huge lover of special edition packagings. If you saw my office, you'd see tons of them. I was really looking forward to this. On the plus side, though, Disney has said that because of this delay, they will be putting even more behind-the-scenes stuff and supplemental material into the Phase 1 when it comes out next year. So we're trading time for more stuff. I just hope it's not more BS and it's actually substantial.
Maybe another Joss Whedon action figure.
Oh, there you go.
That would be so sweet.
Maybe they'll actually just show you the lawsuit transcripts.
Maybe. We could see the briefs.
Ooh, yeah. Hit me with that unknown shit. Flashback.
All right, so we'll move on to our Flashback DVD Blu-ray segment. This is each week one of our hosts recommends a little-known or obscure film that we hope that the rest of us and all of you out there will give a chance. This week it's Justin's turn, so Justin, tell us your movie.
All right. This one is a more recent movie than I think I've done since we started doing this. I can't be for certain, but back when I was a child, my uncle really got me into a lot of the Chopsaki films, Man with the Golden Fists, all those kinds of movies you'd watch on Saturdays and Sundays with the horrible dubs and all the wacky martial arts going on. And I really fell in love with that stuff. But later on, it wasn't until Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon that my love for those sorts of movies really came into maturity, and I saw what those sorts of movies could be. But several years later, a movie came out called Curse of the Golden Flower. It came out in 2006. And while it's not a martial arts film of that type, it has a little bit of that, but what it has that really mimics those movies is a real sweeping grandeur to the way this film is shot. And to go into the story of it would take far too long. It's a story about an emperor and his wife and the machinations and incest and all the Machiavellian power plays that go on to wrest the throne for whoever can take it. It's one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen, whether you're talking the colors, the vibrancy, the beauty of the costumes and the set design. It is a remarkable looking film. Chow Yun-fat plays the Emperor. He does a fantastic job. The Empress is played by Gong Li, and she was actually in that geisha, Memoirs of a Geisha movie. And I remember a lot of people were kind of put off by the fact that these two geishas in this movie were played by not Japanese women who are geishas, but Chinese actresses. She's in this film as well. A stunningly beautiful woman, but also an incredibly talented woman. And the role she has to play of this empress who is being slowly killed and doesn't know what's going on, and her sons. And it's a beautiful film, very interesting story, lots of Shakespearean elements to it. I highly recommend that if you've got an interest in seeing films, foreign films, but and you're not adverse to some either bad, mediocre dubbing or reading the subtitles. Curse of the Golden Flower. It's not a film that I hear talked about much, and I really think it should be. It did go up for an Academy Award in the costume design. It should have really been up for Best Foreign Language Film as well. But it's a beautiful film, 2006. I highly recommend everybody go check it out. Chow Yun-fat's fantastic in it.
Okay, now let's go to our Stump the Hoe answer. Brian, what was the question again?
All right. Well, we had a Indiana Jones theme here going today. When Indiana Jones came back from World War I, he was an understudy of Abner Ravenwood. Which university was he studying in? Was it Harvard University, University of Chicago, Princeton University, or University of Cairo? Justin said Harvard, Scotty said Princeton, and Aaron said the University of Chicago, which is correct.
Oh, did I get an Indiana Jones question right? That feels good.
Is that in the movie?
You chose
Yes.
wisely.
I did choose wisely. Nice. Good job. Also, Justin's talking to me again. That's good news, guys.
No, fuck. Oh, that's right. Fuck you.
Damn, I slipped.
Once again, I want to reiterate. It's not my kind of show. That's all I meant. I'm sure it's wonderful. It's lasted 5
Damage done.
Damn it. I'm sorry. I'll hug you. I'll mouth hug you later. All right. Let's go into feminism. Our From the Outside In topic this week. Back in the 50s, women on screen were always in the kitchen, taking care of the kids, being ideal moms and button-up shirts, and never shared the bed with their husbands. Since the 60s, that stereotype has changed drastically. Women have, and I mean very, very slowly, evolved from there to today, where it is no longer uncommon for women to kick ass and take names. James Cameron introduced Ripley and Connor as ass-kicking chicks that didn't need a damn man. Whedon and Abrams showed that a woman could lead an action series without constantly needing the help of a man. But still, women are constantly objectified in rated R comedies. They're still the ones screaming in horror films. They're still the ones that Scotty refers to as cute when he's talking about their acting abilities. And they're also the ones that men are often showing how manly they are by protecting. For every step forward, there's a frickin' Kardashian type who gets national acclaim just for having a sweet ass and a sex tape, but zero disconcertable talent. So we thought, what the hell? Let's talk about this. Let's actually have a serious topic for once. Are women finally equals on the big screen and small screen? Most importantly, are they simply represented fairly?
This is a topic that I brought up on my podcast, more in the mode of storytelling, but it's a topic that's come up for me quite a bit. And recently there was a woman who named Anita Sarkeesian who wanted to put together a documentary about video game tropes and how they relate to women. And she did a Kickstarter because she felt like women were really treated unfairly within the video game media, and she was asking for $6,000 to make this documentary. And by the time it was finished, she made over $158,000 because that's how much people wanted to give her because they believed in what she was trying to do, which is to show that all of these games that are filled with these female characters that are either busty or, just shown in these highly sexualized situations, they're all programmed by men, designed by men, mostly written by men. And is it fair that the view of the women are portrayed by men in this media? And so I don't know what she's going to be doing with this yet, but she definitely has the money to make it. But it was a starting point. And then during the recent Olympics, there was a little bit of news made by NBC because one of their marketing departments made a commercial about the women athletes of the Olympics, but the commercial almost had this porn music to it, and every female athlete was either shown leaping or jumping, their bosoms heaving, their butts flexing. Every athlete was shown in a highly sexualized fashion, and a lot of people took umbrage with the fact that these female athletes who were capable of incredible feats and who were really responsible for the lion's share of the medals America was awarded are yet shown as objects, not as athletes. And so this came up to me a lot, and I hear from a lot of people about how women are viewed and how they're shown. And so on my show, I want to talk about how writing female characters, should they always be the damsel in distress? But conversely, should they always be that vampire-loving, demon-ass-kicking character? Or are there not different modes of looking at it? And I thought it'd be interesting if we talked about it, especially because recently we had someone who commented on our our Dark Knight Rises review, and he referenced the fact that we mentioned quite lasciviously how beautiful Anne Hathaway was, especially all stretched out on that bat pod. It just said she has an amazing figure. And of course, he had to throw in that was actually her stunt double who looked that good. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I saw the movie twice. She looked good, and it was her on the bike when that camera would Sure, but be that as it may, this is a Sausage Fest podcast. We do not normally have women on. It's not because we want to exclude them. It's just we're the three guys who put it together and are doing it.
Four guys.
But
you have a hard time with that fourth digit.
Four, yes, four. Shit, I always
I'm
keep
right here, man.
I keep hoping he'll drop out. No,
one day we're working on it,
but they're four guys, and because we are bros, quite often when we talk about women, we do talk about them not just as on a talent level, but on an attractiveness level, and that always seems to come up with a guy, unless it's Bradley Cooper, who we would all, I think, bang out in a heartbeat. We don't talk about men's physicality, their sexuality, and their attractiveness. People would say that's for good reason. You're all straight guys. That wouldn't come up. Is it unfair, though, that we talk about women in that fashion? And do we reduce women to objects? Do we over-sexualize them or objectify them at the expense of men or at the expense of their talents? And I don't know, but are women's roles equal to male roles in today's Hollywood? I think maybe not quite, but they're definitely getting much closer than they ever have been. I think that there are a lot of women out there that earn a damn good salary, whether it's Angelina Jolie or Jennifer Lawrence renegotiating her contract with the Hunger Games. They're making some pretty big money, and they're getting some pretty juicy roles. So I don't think they're equal yet, but it's getting there, and it's closer, and I've talked way too much, and I'm going to be quiet now.
I agree. I think it's starting to get a lot closer. It's definitely not there yet, though. I mean, you still go see a horror movie. There's women screaming and squealing, running around doing the stupidest things possible. And yes, there are people that in real life that would do that. I know some of these women that would do that, and I don't think it's wrong to present them that way, but I do think it's wrong to constantly present them that way. Like they're all nitwits running around, running outside when they should be staying in the house, that sort of thing. But it has come a long way. I mean, now you do see women that are a lot more, a lot stronger, a lot tougher. They put up with a lot more, real women, not 50s women. You don't really see many women that are just stuck in the kitchen anymore.
Right.
What about, do you think filmmakers still rely a little too much on the sex appeal of actresses to fulfill their roles?
Yeah. But that's called marketing. It's not just women, it's men too. Nobody wants to sit there for 2 hours looking at ugly people.
That's a good point, Scott.
I mean, I don't want to see Kathy Bates with a grenade launcher, but I do want to see Gina Carano with a grenade launcher. We want to see pretty people, but that goes both ways. It goes for men and women. It's not, the sex appeal is sex appeal for both sides of the, of the fence there. It's for men and women, and it's pretty people on the screen. People respond to them a lot more than they do, let's just say, more average-looking people.
But to Aaron's point, I think men are more visually stimulated than women. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's scientific fact. Men are more visually oriented than women are. But Magic Mike is pretty clear evidence that you put a bunch of hot men on the screen and women are going to flock to it.
It's true.
But I think the question, this question, what it really speaks to is, are we as a society, are we more okay with lesser attractive men being a star in a movie, whereas a lesser attractive woman might not be? I mean, say like a Patton Oswalt. Okay, he could star in a film, but in the movie he did with Charlize Theron, they didn't get a woman who, Patton, I love your comedy, but you're not a stunning looking fella. Would they have gotten a woman of his equal attractiveness to play opposite? No, they got Charlize Theron. And, in Bridesmaids, none of the women in there are, I guess, what you would consider the classic Hollywood stunners. I think that they're
all pretty fairly average.
Yeah, fairly, but it's
just
Melissa
attractive.
McCarthy is really the star of that movie, at least in my book. She's the star quality in that movie. And I love that she did get all the accolades that she did get. She is a heavier, older woman. It's nice to see her recognized for her talents and people just not immediately dismissing her because she's not Angelina Jolie. But maybe in comedy, it's easier to get away with that sort of a look than it would be in
Yeah, fat
any other
people are
type
funny.
of movie. Yeah. I mean, and being a fat guy, I'm pretty fucking funny.
Actresses have long complained about the quality of good female parts. Do you guys think that has changed? I mean, are the parts better?
I think they are. I think there's a lot of strong lead female roles out there. I mean, look at Hunger Games. It's not where they're playing the supporting role. There's a lot of lead roles in there. What do you guys think? Is it?
Yeah, you take Cabin in the Woods. One of the stronger characters in there is a female. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't remember her name or even the actress that played it, but she is kind of the backbone of that group. So I think it's, I think it is. I think it's still evolving. I think it's still growing, and I think there's still definitely room to go. But I think we are on the right path.
Well, and I think that there are a lot of roles that women would not have been given years ago or decades ago that they do get now. We talked about Source Code a little while ago, and Vera Farmiga being this military officer. I think there were a lot of roles like military, police, those sorts of things that would never have been given to a woman, but now they are, because women are a part of those organizations in much larger numbers than they ever were before. And so a lot of things that would have just been traditionally male are now not traditionally male. They're gender neutral. You could hire anyone to play those and people wouldn't look, askance at it. So there are definitely some openings. And I do love that there are more action movies starring or co-starring women than, what was it? Colombiana? Yeah. Colombiana, Haywire, Hunger Games. These movies are proving women can kick some ass and they can do it convincingly. And Hollywood's learning that, and I think that's a good sign.
Do you think sometimes it's trying too hard? When you see something like Colombiana is a really good example. Like Haywire, you can buy because Gina Carano's background, right? You know that she has beaten some ass. But I see Colombiana, Zoe Saldana. I like her, but she's so lanky. I can't really see her beating that much ass. Right. It doesn't seem realistic.
She's so thin and almost frail looking that it's hard to take her seriously as a cartel ass-kicking woman or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think that's when it's going too far. You're trying to ram it down my throat. It's almost like if you're taking, William H. Macy and making him a badass. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense.
Hey, when he was the shoveler, he shoveled some shit.
He shovels well.
Do you ever feel like sometimes that you're watching a movie, and I don't really have specifics in this, but to where maybe a woman is put in a group just to have a woman in there, just to maybe appease some people that might get upset about it?
For
like you'll have, let's say you have a hardcore special ops group, and you've got 5 guys that are 6'3", built like brick shit houses, and then you got a 5'4" woman sitting there with who looks like she can barely even, her clothes even barely fit her because she's just so kind of small and she's carrying a big gun. And do you think maybe when they do stuff like that, do you think that's more patronization, or do you think that's maybe more of a step in the way that we should be, where women should be given equally opportunity?
Well, I think a lot of times it's done for demographic sake. I do think there's a lot of Hollywood that still would rather have all males kicking the ass and a woman just standing there, looking pretty, than they would have them be in the center of a major motion picture. And I think what Brian's saying is, yes, they do sometimes just throw women into the mix for demographic sake, just to try to bring in some female audience members. I don't think it's quite to the point where we're going to have a huge barrage of big budget female led action picks, but I think we're getting a little closer. I mean, Hunger Games showed if you find the right actress for the right part and you cast them as a woman as opposed to trying to make them a man, which I think that's the mistake a lot of these action pictures do, is they cast it and they're trying to have a Bruce Willis type figure where it's a woman and she's beating ass crazy. Well, they made Hunger Games and they were smart and cast Jennifer Lawrence because she can play an ass kicker, but as a woman, as a demure feminine woman.
Right.
And I really admired that. And I think some people were, she doesn't intimidate me. Well, she wasn't meant to. She was meant to be a real person. And I think make more characters like that, you'll sell more tickets.
Right.
Well, and I think, the Zoe Saldana example, it is a little poor because she is quite a slender, very lanky person who doesn't look like they could bring a lot of power to a punch or a kick. But, being able to be being a good fighter isn't just purely a muscle thing. You could take a really big guy, but if he doesn't know how to fight, and you put a guy who's half his size, but maybe a black belt in karate, could kick the shit out of him because he knows how to use his body, whereas a big guy doesn't. And I think there are a lot of women who, while they might be smaller than the guys they're fighting, if their technical level is higher, they could take them out. But there are a lot of women who are in action films who look the part. I mean, look at Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. I forget the name of the woman who played alongside Renner and Cruz.
Paula Patton.
Paula Patton. She kicked ass, and she looks like she could kick some ass. She is a tall,
but she didn't
strong-looking woman.
Absolutely, but she didn't look like Kate Moss, weighing all of about 87 pounds either.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot
of one punch or one stiff wind, and she's broken in half.
Yeah, but or you look at the woman who was in Serenity and Firefly. I cannot believe Gina Torres, another a big strong woman, or Carano in Haywire. Hell, even Kate Beckinsale in Total Recall. She was like a force of nature in that movie. I mean, she unleashed some real brutal hits, and she looked convincing doing it. If a woman doesn't look convincing in a fight, either the people who are directing it aren't doing a good job, or the people who cast it didn't do a good job. But there are women out there who could kick my ass and do it fairly quickly. And so I don't have a problem with a woman being in an action film and kicking some butt. You just have to get an appropriate size woman. Don't throw a 4-foot woman in there who's holding a 50 caliber machine gun, just like you wouldn't throw in a small guy. But it's not a woman issue. It's purely get someone who's appropriate for the role.
One thing I do have to ask, why do women still have to be the ones that are screaming every time things get intense? I'd like to see a guy screaming when things get intense.
Do you?
I would.
No, because it's too funny when a man screams. Yeah. Have you ever seen, Jonah Hill in that that movie where they created a college?
Oh, yeah.
The reason why that's so funny is because it takes you, it just takes you out of a scene. There's guys that scream in movies but they don't shriek like a woman does. And there's something about that shriek that just drives home the fact that, hey, this is a pretty intense scene. But if a guy shrieks like that, you're laughing. You're not going, oh my God, is he going to live? You're going, oh my God, this guy's funny as shit.
All right, you do have a point. Can't dispute that. Everything in Hollywood is about money. Everything is about money. Why do tough women on screen have such a hard time bringing people to the theaters? Because outside of Hunger Games and Resident Evil and the Alien franchise, there's not really a lot in it. Okay, Angelina Jolie, anything she's in.
Well, I was going to say, is this really the case?
No, it's really the case. If you go look at the record of female-led movies, there's not a whole lot of huge box office hits, and the ones that are very specific. They're the same female-led characters, same female actresses. Angelina Jolie, Mila Jovovich, now Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, there's really Sigourney Weaver. There's a lot of these films that just don't bring people to the theater. Why do you think that is? Do you think guys who are the main target for action movies just don't want to see a female-led action pick?
Is that maybe in some people's minds it's more of a novelty, and people are more apt to go see what they're used to seeing instead of a novelty? I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of.
I'll be honest with you, and I think a lot of people will dance around this and try not to say it, but I've got a lot of guy friends that go to see action movies, and when a woman is leading it, they'll immediately mock it. The second that trailer comes out, immediately mock it and say, come on, because it's a woman. There's still a lot of sexism in that regard with a lot of the male movie-going population. The ones that go to see Battleship, Transformers, stuff like that, they just don't buy it. They want to see something skimpy and sexy is what a lot of their mentality is. And these are also the big, dumb action picks. And it seems like, there's some big, dumb guys still going to see the movies, and there's still a lot of that. Why is that in 2012?
Well, a lot of it is what you just said. There's a lot of dumb guys out there. I mean, they're going there to see what they want to see.
But do you get the same intensity when you watch a woman lead in an action movie do you get the same intensity and, I guess, experience as watching her versus maybe a more established male actor?
I think
you personally.
I think if they, and going to, well, we've all kind of had this point, if they have if they have the body type that suggests that they could be effective. Watching Mila Jovovich, for whatever reason, she does a great job of seeming like a woman that could shoot the fuck out of anything that walks. You've got, I think Jennifer Lawrence carried herself very well. Gina Carano, you find that type. Her fights in Haywire were more effective and bloody than anything I've seen from a guy all year.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, it can be done. It's just a matter of which actress do you cast. And for whatever reason, Angelina Jolie does a great job. I mean, seeming like a woman that could kick your ass. That's the one thing I will say. When people go to see her movies, they take her seriously as an action hero, not just as a sexy lady leading the chart. They take her as an action hero.
Well, and that's really the key there, is if the character is being sold as a sex object or a tough person. If the person is believable as a person that can beat the shit out of somebody, then it's easier to accept. But when you've got, some big busted, scantily clad, bright red lipstick, high heel wearing, leather. I'm sorry, maybe I'm just kind of going deeper into some of my fetishes here.
Yeah, you're getting a little uncomfortable.
I'm getting, then you can't take it seriously. But maybe just sometimes, maybe it's just a fact. And this may sound worse than it's really intended, but maybe it's just one of those things like the WNBA versus the NBA. I'm sorry, but the WNBA is just not a good product.
That's fair and honest, and I give you kudos for being honest, Brian, because most guys just want to dance around it.
Well, part of what Brian's talking about is references something else that I wanted to bring up. It's, when Angelina Jolie would star in an action film, whether you're talking about Lara Croft or you're talking about Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Wanted or something like that, in every trailer, every piece of marketing, it's not her acting abilities that are really the highlight. It's what outfits do they have her in. Whether it's a Mr. and Mrs. Smith poster where she's got the black dress on with a high slit on the thigh and the high heels, or the Lara Croft where it's all about her bosoms, or Wanted where it's about her lips and face holding the gun. It's never just this is a woman who is capable. It's always about this is a very gorgeous woman who also happens to be holding a gun or something to that effect. And it's like we as a society yet can't buy just a woman being capable, but it's always paired with her appearance. And a part of me really hates that. But another part of me hates the notion that a woman's sexuality has to be suppressed. Because I think that with women, a part of their strength and a part of what can make them capable is their confidence and their sexuality. I'm sorry, if I'm fighting a woman and all of a sudden something is exposed, she will probably kick my ass then, because I will have gone in full male mode.
You're fighting a woman and then you get exposed, and then all of a sudden you're exposing.
Yeah. You see a nipple and it's over.
We're tussling, and I grab a shirt. Something happens. Several weeks ago, I was watching Project Runway. And in this episode, they had average women come on to be given outfits to kind of spruce them up. And one of the women who was a part of this was a young Asian woman, probably in her mid to late 20s. And she said that she hated to dress like a woman, to dress feminine, because she felt like it made her weak. She didn't want to look feminine because it made her feel weak. And when she said that, it really bothered me, because I know that there are probably a lot of women who feel like if I act like a woman, dress like, or not like a woman, but very feminine, whether it's soft clothes, dresses and things like that, that somehow that makes them less, or that makes them weak, or that makes them...
When in all actuality, it actually gives them the power.
Right. And I wish that more women would embrace the fact that your feminine wiles, your body gives you strength. It doesn't detract from it. Now, if a bunch of dudes are just going to drool over your cleavage, that's their problem. That isn't yours. That's their dumb male issue, my dumb male issue. Don't let us make you lessen yourself or be less who you are. Be who you are. Be a woman. Embrace that. Use it. A lot of guys, hell, if I had Ryan Reynolds' body, I wouldn't own a shirt. I would just own jeans and shoes because I would constantly be walking around shirtless. I'm not saying women should do that. Some maybe should, but don't run from who you are. And I wish people would stop looking at a woman's physical beauty as though it was always a detriment. It is not. I think we as a culture can't see sexuality in anything other than a lust issue. And I think there's more strength to be had there, but maybe we as a culture aren't ready for that. I don't know.
Well, very well put. Actresses have, in closing, actresses have come a long way since the 50s. What's the next logical step?
I don't know. I think as more women direct and more women write, you're going to find better roles for women out there. It's a boys' industry that's slowly changing. Get more women behind the camera, and I think you're going to get a lot more female roles that are better for women in front of the camera.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing a lot more women executives in the studios, so that just by proxy is going to get more women having more actresses, directors, writers having more opportunities to be taken seriously, which is just of course going to kind of help fuel that. So it's getting there. I mean, it's obviously we're not completely there yet, but we're definitely a hell of a lot closer than we were even 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
And guys, give Joss Whedon more work because he puts a lot of really cool women in front of the camera.
Can't go a whole episode, can you? Not saying, saying the Whedon.
Nope.
Name redacted.
Okay. Well, that's our From the Outside In topic. If you want to suggest a topic, send us an email at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. We do have one email before we close out, and it's from one of our repeat listeners, Ashley. She says, first off, let's address some of your concerns regarding director David Slade. I'm so happy to hear Scotty referencing Hard Candy. Too many people haven't seen that movie. I concur. It's pretty hard to get through the first time you watch it because of the subject matter, but it gets easier and more awesome the more times you watch it. I can't watch that movie again. I own it, but I do have to tell you guys that I don't think Matched is going to mention the fact that David Slade directed Twilight. I think it will mention 30 Days of Night, as that is the movie Slade is most famous for directing. And it's definitely a great film to be known for. It brought back my love of vampire films. I don't know if I agree with that statement, but, teach their own. Maybe that's what you know it for. Now, Aaron, I have a bone to pick with you. That's me. There and Back Again is a phenomenal title for the last Hobbit film. Everybody keeps telling me that. I still don't agree with it.
You're wrong.
I very well may well be. It's a well-known part of the Tolkien books and Lord of the Ring movies, and it is, plainly speaking, perfect. Scotty, leave the Desolation of Smaug title alone to Lord of the Rings rant complete. My point was it's too on the nose, and it's just not. I just think it's bland. I think that's what everybody expected. I just don't like it. So it's my personal opinion. Quick mention of Watchmen, Aaron. The trailer is freaking crazy. I was one of those weirdos that watched it almost every day on YouTube before the movie opened. You weren't the only one. I also bought the remix to the Smashing Pumpkins, The End is the Beginning is the End, and listened to it on repeat, which is an awesome song, if you haven't heard it. And she has an outside-in topic idea, which we're going to use a little later, so you don't get to hear it yet. Haha. Thanks for taking the email as usual, Ashley. Whew. That was a good episode, boys.
Yeah.
Nice. Great topic. I hope we still have female listeners after that. I think Justin's saved us all at the end with his nice little description of how it's okay to be sexy, so please put on naughty things.
That's not what I meant. But kind of. I do hope our female listeners, of which we have quite a few, I do hope, though, that they write in and let us know their thoughts, because this is a discussion about women being had by 4 guys, and I would much prefer to get the female perspective on it. Let us know where we went right, where we're going wrong, and please educate us because we dearly need it.
Absolutely.
We need some learning.
Stay through the credits for outtakes. You can always find us on thehollywoodoutsiders.com, facebook.com/thehollywoodoutsiders. Our email address is feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. please tell your friends. We don't do this for just the heck of it. The more listeners, the better. Subscribe on iTunes, Zune, Google Reader, or listen on your Stitcher Radio app. Give us a thumbs up if you do. Well, I guess we kind of do it for the heck of it. Or just any plain old RSS feed. RockfordCollegeRadio.com, Thursdays from 4 to 6. I want to thank each of the podcasters. You can find all their contact info on the website under hosts. Brian Williams, thanks for being here, B.
All right.
And he's here on his wife's birthday. So happy birthday, Molly. Congratulations.
Happy birthday.
I don't know if he wanted people to know he was married, but now they do. Scott Clark, thanks for being here, Scotty, on Football Sunday.
Yeah, football? Yeah.
And Justin McCumber, host of the Dead Robots Society podcast, the weekly podcast for aspiring writers, available at deadrobotsociety.com. Justin?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Aaron.
And I hope your Casa de Mansion gets better, because it seems like you're tired and a little stressed.
I don't want to move for many long years to come.
Well, then don't. It's really that simple.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Next week we will be reviewing Resident Evil Retribution. We will have a listener's topic for our From the Outside In, and more on the next Hollywood Outsider. So from all four of us, the next time you guys go to the theater, buy popcorn.
Decision for me letting you go. No time to visit, I just wanna go home. And you're unable to understand that I'm doing the best I can. And all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be
Not three of us. Four of us.
Yeah, there's four of us, Justin.
I hate beer.
You're among
I
friends.
wish I could drink it, but I just hate it.
So do I, because it tastes like piss.
It does. It tastes like piss.
Thank
How
you.
do you fuckers know what piss tastes like?
I drank
But
it.
I drink
and it was-
beer.
Piss-
I thought I was doing that.
You are. I just didn't watch the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Justin's like,
to
did you
see.
fill my spot? I was gone one fucking week. It looks really nice. Your house looks very nice. I mean, from what Scott and I saw when we were driving by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, when we get it all finished, I'll take some pictures.
Please don't be in a Speedo.
I was just going to say, please.
That's all I ask.
Shit, you wish. You don't want to see all this. Make it jelly.
Because we know you don't go outside a whole lot. It's got to be bright and sunshiny.
I'm telling you, it's like fucking Gollum.